Alright, chat. I'm tired of waiting. I think it's time. Let's dive into my thoughts, man, on MultiVersus. I want to really go into depth, breaking down everything that I know and I've learned about this game, man. I want to talk about the future, my thoughts on Season 4 and where MultiVersus is going. First of all, who am I, man? Why should you actually listen to what I have to say? Obviously, a lot of you guys know who I am, but still, I want to give some sort of reason as to why you should listen to me, man. I'm not just somebody that's talking out my ass. I know what I'm talking about. I've been gaming for a very long time, man. My entire life, I've been a huge gamer. I'm 26 years old now, so it's a whole lot of gaming that I've done. I absolutely love it. I played a whole lot of different variety games. But then I got Smash Ultimate for the Switch. I always played Smash casually, but then I got my own Switch and discovered Elite Smash and started playing Smash Online and started seeing a lot of the depth behind the game. Of course, I run into fucking J Mafia on the Jake, so I'm about to get my ass kicked while talking, but I'll continue. So I found Smash Ultimate, started learning about the competitive scene, which I had no idea existed, and the depth of the game, and realized, like, wow, I fucking love platform fighters. Like, there's nothing like it. The amount of depth in this game, the competitive atmosphere is amazing. Like, I want to continue following this genre. Like, nothing else hits even close to a platform fighter for me. So I loved Ultimate. I slowly got better at it throughout the entirety of its existence. I was really ass at first because I had no other fighting game experience, but then over, you know, years of just playing, learning the competitive scene, or learning about the competitive scene and just playing myself, I just fell in love with the game. And so I decided that when another platform fighter would drop, man, the next big platform fighter to drop, I'm gonna commit my time to it. Smash, I'm really behind. I'm not that good compared to a lot of the players. I've never made content before or anything. I've never streamed, so I'm not gonna try with Smash. But the next big platform fighter that comes out, I'm going to commit to. I'm going to spend my time and I'm going to try and stream and make it as a content creator. And then the rumors came out about MultiVersus, man. A platform fighter by Warner Brothers that has my favorite fucking characters, Rick and Morty, in it. Are you kidding me? Like, I love Rick and Morty, and of course the next platform fighter that comes out has both those characters, like, at least leaked. I was like, oh my god, this is perfect. Like, this is my opportunity to make it happen. Let's go all in and see what I can do. So I did just that. MultiVersus came out. I fell in love even before Rick and Morty were added. I really enjoyed the game. I obviously spent a shit ton of time playing it. I did stream it. I was not even close to as big as I am now with YouTube and streaming, but I did have a little bit of success. I competed a whole lot. I traveled a ton, man. I drove an hour and a half to New York every week for the tournament in New York. I even drove fucking 4 hours to Ajax's tournament, Vortex, just to try and get my name out there, just because I love competing, because I love the game. And so obviously I had kept a very close eye on everything PFG did, all the decisions. And I feel like I paid a lot more attention to what PFG did than just about everybody else. Not everybody else, obviously, but almost everybody else, I can confidently say. So I feel like my opinion does matter a lot, just because of how much time and how much dedication I have put into this game. And I have really paid a lot of attention to what PFG has done and why they make the decisions they make. So let's go back to, before we can talk about Season 4, the present, and my current thoughts on the game, let's go back to the beta and the problems and the good things about the beta, man. And I feel like we need to talk about that before we can talk about the now. So the beta, obviously, the movement was very nice. Everybody really liked the movement of the beta, but the casuals had a problem with it because it was insanely fast, and viewing wise it was really hard to watch because you couldn't really keep up with everything going on. It was just super fast, because not only was it super fast, but the player models were also very small. So that's step one of PFG realizing, all right, big problem we have in the beta, our character models are small and it's hard to tell what's going on because players are moving so lightning fast. So let's make the player models bigger, let's make the characters bigger, and let's slow the game down a bit. So that's one thing that they learned from the beta, but then also some other things that PFG did that a lot of it I'm going to talk about as well in the beta, because I think it's important to talk about this because a lot of people don't realize that PFG has learned a lot from the beta and are trying to make up for the mistakes that they made back then in the now, and that's why a lot of the decisions they've made have come into fruition. So where was I going to go next? Another thing that that MultiVersus beta did, you know, somewhat well, but also was a big mistake, was they tried to support the competitive scene through online tournaments, which obviously sounds really good in practice. You love a competitive scene that's supported by developers. Fuck Nintendo, they don't do that shit. But PFG and WB said, we want to support our competitive scene. We're going to host Make It Rain Dog, a weekly 1v1 tournament. We're going to host Fall Showdown with tens of thousands of dollars on the line for 2v2 gaming, man, which sounds amazing. What can go wrong? $10,000 worth of prizes for 2v2 tournaments. Sounds like a really good idea, but they realized when they did that, as good as the idea was, it doesn't matter when the servers are absolute dog shit and the game is not balanced at all. So they instead stopped hosting that and realized that servers are a huge problem. Balance is a huge problem. Watching the game is a huge problem. You need the game to be watchable. It's really important. And so those were a lot of the big problems that the game had. And how do we fix that? We have to remake, first of all, they remade the entire game in Unreal Engine 5. The beta was in Unreal Engine 4. Unreal Engine 5 came out, which is unanimously better across the board as far as game development. But also the biggest thing with Unreal Engine 5 versus Unreal Engine 4 is Unreal Engine 5 makes it way easier to implement rollback netcode. The best netcode you can have for online gaming, way better than what MultiVersus beta had. So that was a big priority for them, changing the game from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. So even though it did cost them the present, it sadly made them so they had to remake the entire game, you know? Like, they literally, you know how difficult that is? All the progress they made in beta, man, all the changes that they, you know, implemented over the time, over the year or whatever that the beta was out, all gone because they have to remake an entire game in Unreal Engine 5 to implement a better netcode and a better experience. Also just make the game look better as well, make it way easier to adjust, to fix the hitboxes, to improve, to do just about everything. So that was a huge priority for them, man. They learned that lesson as far as netcode being a problem, and the speed being too fast, and the characters just being too small. So that was a lot of what PFG took from the beta. That's what they took away. And then we end up now, man, in Season 1 of the new MultiVersus release. The game looks completely incomplete. It is missing a whole lot of features that the beta has. It has a lot of problems. It is not balanced. It is slow. It feels clunky. There's a lot of broken shit. So their first priority is get rid of the broken shit as soon as possible. The stuff like Gizmo Car, the Joker jab, the Bugs Bunny fucking Nair loops, you know, Iron Giant having some insane shit, like so much more. I think that was their first priority, was to get all of the really insane stuff out, you know, like look at Agent Smith now, insane, like so much better than everybody else. Character is clearly top 1, but if you go back to week or season 1 of MultiVersus, man, I don't even think Agent Smith, current Agent Smith, would be fucking top 5. because there were so many insane characters at the start of the beta, or at the start of the current release, sorry. And that is because, obviously, we know that this game was rushed out due to Warner Brothers being, Warner Brothers just wanting the game to not be offline. They also told everybody that they were going to release the game in early 2024. They ended up doing around mid-year 2024 instead, but they kind of already committed to a date, and even though the game was clearly not ready, PFG knew that, WB still just said you have to get the game out because of, I heard there some behind the scenes stuff, but regardless, they had to release the game when they did, even though the product was clearly incomplete, and the reason it was incomplete is because they built the game in an entirely new engine. But so they did that, and so we started over with a brand new game at the start of MultiVersus Season 1, and now it's about how can we fix the game, how can we improve the game from where it is now. First priority clearly was get all of the broken shit that has no counterplay out of the game. Gizmo card doing 30%, Nair loops, everything I just said. That is a clear priority for them. First, to get that stuff out, that was a lot of Season 1, was getting all the broken shit out. Getting the features back in the game, whether it's spectate mode, whether it's ranked, all the stuff that wasn't in the game when we dropped, or wasn't in the game when it first dropped. Adding all that back, that was what a lot of Season 1 was focused on doing, and even Season 2, still building the game back up, making it just a more complete game. That was the priority of Season 1 and 2, and Season 3 seems like then we move on to how can we balance the game a little bit better. I mean, that's kind of been the priority since the start, but slowly balancing the game a little bit better, slowing down offense that feels like it's impossible to deal with, and introducing the idea of shielding in this game, active defense, which has not been in the game before, something that is brand new. But PFG realized that in the beta, the offense was so explosive, which was a good thing, and players love the explosive offense, but when you can't actually defend yourself from the broken offense, it's just a total mash fest. And in fighting games, man, you can't have good offense without good defense, or else it just becomes whoever has the most broken option wins at all times, and there's not much you can do about it. So the balance seems a little off now, and it seemed a little bit off in Season 3, but that is because PFG clearly are planning to implement shields into the game. They just have not done it yet, because they want to make sure shields are ready to go before just throwing them in the game, because once again, they have learned from their mistake of rushing things and putting in new game mechanics when they're not ready, and shields is such a big change that you can't implement them without making sure they are ready and they are good and they are going to be balanced and not overwhelming, because the last thing we want is overwhelming defense. Overwhelming offense without defense is one thing. People, at least like the explosive gameplay in the fighting games, but overwhelming defense with not good enough offense is the worst thing you want, or is the last thing you want. So that is what they are really trying to avoid when it comes to adding in shields, and that's why I feel like they are being so patient with it. You can't rush it because you don't want the game becoming defensive. You want to keep the offense, and they want to implement even more offense than there currently is. Because currently, there is a major lack of creativity. Most players know this. The game feels very repetitive at times. Most players just spam, or most characters just spam very similar combos over and over again. They spam their best option, their jab, whatever it is, and the offensive options are so limited because there is no defense. So PFG has to be very careful with the offense they implement into the game, because you look at moves like Shaggy Charge, side special, and that move comes across the entire map with a giant hitbox. You can angle it up so it covers jumps. So what do you do about it? You have to time your dodge perfectly to go through it, which is really, really hard to actually do, to react to that move. But if you put a shield in the game, all you have to do is sit there and time your shield, and if Shaggy just throws it out willy-nilly, shield it, and it's negated. So I feel like that's a prime example of why we need defense in the game, so then we could have moves like that Shaggy charge sidekick and not have to worry about being a fucking god move. And, you know, jabs are the same way. There's so many good jabs in this game, and jabs are so good because there's not really a good way to defend yourself from those jabs. So that's their goal as far as balance when it comes to offense and defense. This game has never had defense before, and that has been a clear problem through the beta and through the present version of the game. You need defense to have more creative and better offense. So first they want to balance out the game and get all the garbage, get all the broken shit out of the game. Now they're also worrying about the hitboxes. We saw a lot of hitbox changes come into play this season. Also adding new game modes as well for the casuals. We're finally also seeing them, you know, do what they did in the beta, which was support the competitive scene, which is really, really important. It was really that helped the competitive, or that helped the beta stay alive a lot. All the tournaments that were hosted, whether it's through PFG or just through, you know, community run stuff, but PFG was very supportive, and that helped grow the game a whole lot. And we're finally seeing that slowly but surely with FutureVersus next Saturday having a $7,500 prize for a twos tournament, which a lot of people also complained about this game. You know, it was a twos game largely in the beta, but now it's become a 1v1 game, and people were worried that they weren't going to support the 2v2 scene. And so what are they doing? They added arena mode, a really fun 2v2 mode that people have really been enjoying. And they are finally actually hosting and putting money into a twos tournament. Also with tournaments, not only before did they realize that hosting twos tournaments with bad netcode was a problem, but like I did say, they also realized that the game was really unbalanced with tournaments, and that put out a bad message for the competitive scene. You're hosting tournaments, official tournaments, when the game is clearly unbalanced. So that's why this time around they released the game, and they didn't immediately just hop back into tournaments. Clearly they do want to support the competitive scene, they've made that clear, but they don't want to rush things and host tournaments and give the game a bad look when the game is not in a good balanced spot, because that would be worse. You know, that'd be worse than hosting tournaments, than not hosting tournaments at all. So I believe they have learned that they need to be patient when it comes to hosting tournaments. They don't want to rush things. They do want to support the competitive scene, and they're finally showing that a little bit now with supporting FutureVersus with a major prize pool. And we're finally starting to see that, which is very, very nice to see the return of that. But we're seeing that multiverse, like, I really want to make it clear that PFG, as much as people seem to not believe, PFG has learned from a lot of their mistakes through this game. But the reason that people don't realize that is because because PFG can't really say it clearly, largely due to Warner Brothers being, you know, owning PFG, and Warner Brothers having say in communication. PFG has say in all gameplay stuff, but when it comes to communication, that is more of Warner Brothers territory. Also, the reason that that is such a problem in the first place, and they are so strict about communication, is because leakers have been a big problem for this game since beta. A lot of stuff has gotten out through leaks, which has ruined a lot of character announcements, and so that's why you know, Warner Brothers is so intentional with how they let PFG talk about the game, which really is unfortunate because PFG can't say all the stuff that I'm trying to say now, and that's why I think it's so important that I get this stuff out, because PFG would love to say this, but sadly they are just not allowed to. But I think they are clearly trying to focus on balancing the game, getting all the nonsense out, getting active defense in the game before they can then add more offense, more creativity, more skill inflection, because another problem that this game clearly does have, that the beta had in spades, was skill inflection and creativity when it came to combos. But even though it had the skill inflection and creative combos in the beta, it was also had a lot of disgusting and overpowered shit that was completely unbalanced and not fair. So they are trying to find the balance of getting the insane insanely broken stuff that, you know, maybe had some skill inflection but had no counterplay. They are slowly trying to get rid of that, but then they are going to add back in creativity and skill inflection after they get all of the unfair, overpowered stuff out of the way. I fully believe that they know they need to add more creativity to this game, to the characters, and it's just first the priority is to get all the broken shit out, you know, before they could actually do that. And we're seeing, I think the very clear thing that we're seeing is the new characters have had a lot more creativity than the original cast. And some characters have a lot more creativity than others, of course, as well. But the characters, you know, like Joker, who came out broken as hell at the start. Gizmo was broken as hell at the start. Jake was broken as hell in the beta. So first you have to get all their broken stuff out, and then you can build those characters back up with new creative combo routes, skill inflection that's different than before. So they're gonna add that stuff back in after, you know, they get rid of all the shit, which, you know, currently they did. That's why Gizmo is so bad, Jake is so bad, Joker's pretty mid right now, because they focused on getting the garbage out of the game before they can add the fun stuff back in. So I believe that is going to be the future. We're gonna see a lot of that coming up in the new patch, or in the new patches going forward, is adding, after we get shields, hopefully in the new in either season 4.5, the mid-season update, or season 4.5 or season 5. I think we'll be getting shields, and then going forward, I think the priority is going to be adding creativity and skill inflection to the characters that need it. So that's everything that I have noticed from what PFG has done. PFG sadly can't be as vocal as they would like, because of, like I said, the Warner Brothers aspect, but PFG, or Warner Brothers, has also made it very clear, though, that they are not planning on stopping supporting this game, and they are very willing to put in a lot of money towards it as well. Another thing that I noticed, that I remember very clearly from the beta, not only did they put in a lot of money into the tournament scene, but I even remember we in the beta, like midway through when things weren't going too well, I think after they even gave up on supporting tournaments, they had Shroud, one of the biggest streamers out there. You know, a lot of people know Shroud. He's not a fighters game player, but just a very, very big, well-known streamer. They paid him and sponsored him to play this game just to get eyes on it. But the game was so laggy online. Like, I just saw him fucking playing the game and getting disconnects, playing a laggy-ass game, like, all the problems with the game, man. And, like, as good as the idea is to have a, you know, pay a top streamer, a popular streamer like that to play the game, the timing was not the right time. The game was not ready for it. The game was not in a good spot. So, as important as it is to put money into the game, as great as that is, you need to make sure the game is actually in a good spot, or else it's just going to do bad things to the game more than anything. So the reason that MultiVersus has waited so long and there hasn't been much advertising, there hasn't been a supported competitive scene, is because PFG has realized that they have to be patient with it. It's not worth rushing it, or else they will just make things worse. But I really do believe that this game has a bright future, man. I have obviously committed a whole lot to this game, and I really don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. And I'm not worried at all about the future of this game. If anybody should be worried, it's me. You know, obviously I invested a lot into this game. I stream this shit full time. I make content for it full time. So I have a lot at stake. If the game doesn't work out, I'm quite frankly going to be fucking screwed. But I am not really worried about that happening because of everything I've seen, because of everything that I've laid out. It's clear to me that PFG does have a plan, even if they're not allowed to be vocal about it. I think they are going, you know, taking the right path, and have really learned from the mistakes that they made in the beta, which is really, really important, and a lot of people haven't seen that. But I also think the balance of this game right now is the best that it's ever been. You know, Agent Smith obviously is still insane. Character is a step above the rest. It's very surprising that they haven't done what they have done to. They haven't done anything to him this patch. But outside of Agent Smith, the characters feel pretty well balanced, and it feels like almost every character can compete. Even with the fact that the game currently is balanced around no shields and shields at the same time, which is pretty insane. That's the case. We'll see how things go with shields, but we're also finally seeing, like, I think Finn and Batman are really good examples of characters that PFG has learned. Like, Finn and Batman both have really, really good utility. You know, Finn having a lot of anti-projectile stuff, his shop allowing to buy speed boost, his grounded side special, aerial side special, both negating projectiles. He moves around at the speed of light, and they realize that a character that has utility like that and has a shit ton of speed does not need to kill early and should struggle to kill in some sense. And Batman's kind of the same way. The character struggles to kill, but he can rack up damage really well, and he has insane utility. So we're finally adding a bit of weakness to the characters that only had strengths, which I think is a really good sign that they're aware. It's not like it's perfect, and those characters aren't in the perfect spot. You know, I don't think they're going to stay the way they are. Like I said, once you add defense, you add shields, you can add a lot more offense to those characters as well. But I just think it's a very good sign that PFG is learning, and they are changing stuff, and they are adapting. We finally got the movement, too. Like, the movement this season feels the best it's ever felt. It feels really smooth. I feel like they found a good balance of current of the current game, and the beta speed is not overwhelming. So I feel like it's in a good spot, and we're going in the right direction. This patch is easily the best patch we've had, and we got content. The last thing I think I really need to hammer home that I think is really, really important, man, for a very particular reason, though, is Season 4. We finally got a fucking roadmap. How long have we been asking for a roadmap for this game, man? So many people have done it. So many people have asked. We have never gotten up until this point, but we finally got a roadmap, which is important for a couple of reasons. Two in particular. The big one is that it allows MultiVersus fans to post on Twitter and post on social media, hey, we have this roadmap, we know it's coming, we have this content to look forward to, look at all this cool stuff about our game. It allows a promotion for the game, which is really, really important. But also, what I think is most important, like I've continued to say, PFG handles the gameplay changes, but Warner Brothers handles the communication. The lack of communication is mostly due to Warner Brothers, not PFG. And Warner Brothers actually listened when it comes to giving us a roadmap. That's not a PFG decision, that is a Warner Brothers decision. And the fact that Warner Brothers actually listened as far as a roadmap, I think is so fucking massive. Because we have not seen much from that, but that shows that even Warner Brothers, not only PFG is listening, which we know PFG listens, they've made that very clear, but even Warner Brothers is willing to give in and give a roadmap. I feel like that is so insanely important for the future of this game that they are willing to do that. Because they are clearly very invested in this game. They've put a lot of money into this game. They acquired PFG, which is really, really important. So they've shown, and I think the roadmap helps show that they are extremely committed to this game, and they do not plan on going anywhere. PFG also has made it very clear that they have a lot of plans for the future. Every time you hear them talk on Twitter, they say, this is only the start, we have more, we have a lot of stuff going forward. They've clearly have a lot of character stockpiled as well. That's obvious. The amount of character, the consistency we've gotten characters released has been unbelievable. What kind of games fucking update once a month and adds a new character every month, man? That is unbelievable that they are able to do that. Also, PFG, I heard only a couple months ago that PFG was hiring new people. After Warner Brothers acquired PFG, they started hiring new people, which is showing even more that they are committed to the future of this game. All of PFG's decisions, for the most part, have been more future-based and not present-based. They are not worried about the current state of the game nearly as much as they are worried about how the game will look next year in 2025 and further down the line. I think the game really can follow the track of Brawlhalla, man. I feel like there's no reason that this game shouldn't be able to have that much success or more success realistically with the IP, with the characters that the game has. I feel like that is what the future of the game is going to look like, and it's just a matter of time. PFG does have a plan. I feel like I try to lay it out for you pretty well of what they're doing for the game, man. There's a whole lot that I laid out, but that's kind of all my thoughts on the game. I'm sure PFG would love to say all of this, but sadly they can't. So I feel like I have to be a voice for PFG on what they're planning, what they want to do, and you know what they're going to be doing going forward for this game. This is still early. We're making progress, but we're nowhere near what the finished product of this game is going to look like, man. This game is going to go on for a very, very long time. This is only just the start. It's only been a couple months of this brand new game, man. So I'm very, very excited to see what the future of this game brings, man. I firmly believe that this game is not going anywhere anytime soon, and PFG and Warner Brothers are very committed to it, even if some people are worried about the game, you know, not making enough money, the game being dead, whatever the worries are. I don't really think that is much of a problem. Warner Brothers has committed to a lot of other games as well, and a lot of other games that are way less successful than this game. This game still has a pretty decent sized player base. We only know the Steam numbers, but we do also know that the Steam numbers are less than the console numbers. So this game also on console and on Epic Store. Another important thing that I need to bring up is the reason that this game struggles so much with updates and with inconsistency, and why there is problems with a lot of the updates, is because the game is on every platform. You know, you look at Rivals 2, which is a way more polished game, but the game is only on Steam because it's hard as fuck to manage a game on multiple platforms. It is super, super difficult, but it does help the player base, and it allows for a lot more players to be able to play your game. So I feel like that is another really important thing to take note of. But I feel like that's just about everything I got out. Is there anything that I've actually that I missed that I haven't talked about that I want to talk about yet? I don't think so. Just that I have a lot of faith in the future of this game, and just know that we will start to get a competitive scene from PFG. I'm very, very confident that is the case. We will get more tournaments like we did in the beta, whether it was Make It Rain Dog and Fall Showdown. They're clearly willing to put money in the game. Obviously Evo as well, $1,000 prize for a game that wasn't even released, that was in beta. So they're gonna put money into it. They're gonna put money into advertising as well, like they did with having Stroud play the game. It's just they are waiting for the right moments when they feel like the game is in a good enough spot that it's worth doing that instead of rushing things. So I feel like that's really, really important to note. So the future of this game is still going to be bright, man, and we're going to get a lot of that stuff. It's just a matter of time. And it's also really, the last thing I want to say is there's some worry about, will we be able to earn players back? A lot of players left. There's, you know, Smash players talk shit about the game on Twitter. A lot of people just have a bad taste in their mouth about this game. But the good thing about this game is it's going to be very, very possible for us to get players to come back to MultiVersus due to it being free to play and live service. This game, like I said, updates every month, which is insane, man. Every month we get balance changes, we're getting new game modes, we're getting new maps, we're getting new characters. All of that, people will come back to try, especially if they also see the gameplay changes with it, which will happen with, you know, with content creation, with social media, with advertising when they choose to do so. It's just a matter of time. So I think we can absolutely earn the players back. I'm not worried about people not coming back to the game, not giving it another chance, because when somebody's new favorite character gets added, you know, like Raven, like Marceline, people will show up and people will give that character a game. Like, oh shit, this fucking Marceline's coming into the game. Like, damn, I haven't played MultiVersus in a fucking while, but like Marceline's like one of my favorite characters. Like, I gotta at least try her. and then they come back and it's like, oh shit, like the game actually feels faster, the game feels balanced, the hitboxes make more sense, there's these new cool maps, there's this new arena game mode, all this stuff, you know, people will stick around. So I'm not worried about that as well. I think that is a really important aspect that needs to be said, because it can be difficult for games to earn players back, but the game has a clear formula to get players to play the game, to get players to come back, even if they stop playing the game. So I think that is really important. But that's just about everything that I wanted to say regarding MultiVersus Season 4 and the future. This is the best season so far, and we are on the right path, man. I'm really looking forward to what the future holds for this game. I think we're going to get to Brawlhalla level. I think we'll be able to go beyond that as well. And it's a bold take, man. As big as Smash is, I think we could even surpass Smash. Mainly just because Smash only being on the Switch, and this game is on all consoles. No disrespect towards Smash. Smash is where I came from as well. But also the developer support and the competitive scene will be huge. So I think this game will be huge in the future, man. It is just a matter of time. PFG has laid out a pretty concrete game plan that I truly believe in. So I hope y'all enjoyed everything that I had to say regarding the future of the game, man. I feel like it's really important to get this stuff out, because a lot of people don't know a lot of what I had to say. A lot of people aren't looking as close as at the game that I am. I have a lot invested in this game. I've paid close attention to everything that PFG has done. And I think that's why I believe what I believe, so that is everything I have to say. I hope y'all enjoyed my little TED Talk. And yeah, the rant is over. Hey, Bhands, I've been